So today we're going to be talking about the Preflight panel and your images and checking resolution. So for the Preflight panel, if you guys look at the bottom left hand of your InDesign, you'll typically see either a green dot down below that says no errors or a red dot that says one error or however many errors. So if you go to your InDesign and you click where either that green dot is or that red dot, if you hit that drop down button, click Preflight panel, and it's going to open up this box. The reason it's called Preflight is, you know how pilots, when they have to go and fly a plane, before every time they take off, they have what's called a pre-flight checklist that they have to go through and double check all the settings, make sure there are no errors, all the readings are coming out correct before they are allowed to take off. This is the same, very similar, I guess. This is your pre-flight before you send it to a print company to say, okay, we are 100% good to go. Go ahead and print it, put it on the newsstands. We're awesome. So if there are any errors here, just an FYI, you are going to lose points if there are any errors. Let me show you how to fix some of the errors though. One of the most common ones is going to be, you'll see a text error. You can drop down each error. And so it says, oh, I have one box of overset text. The overset text is when there's too much text in the text box, so it's not showing all of it. So drop that down and it'll say, oh, it's a text frame and it's on page 4. So if I double click it, it will actually go ahead and move me to page 4 and select that text box for me. So I know which one is going on. And I see a lot of times you'll see that red plus there and you'll be like, oh, there's too much text. So you can kind of just usually adjust the text box. Hold on 1 second. So if you just oftentimes make it bigger, oh look, there's a sentence I was missing. Awesome. Sometimes it will say that and you're like, I know there's no more copy in there. It could just be an extra enter or some extra spaces. Go ahead and just delete it until you don't have that error anymore. If you notice now, it has no errors. We got the green light, good to go print. Sometimes you'll have links missing, or usually you're going to have overset text or you're going to have links missing. So if it says links missing, open up your links panel. It's either on the right hand side, or if you go to window links, you can open it up there and you'll get this little panel come up. Oftentimes it will actually be shorter. So if you click your image, you'll notice it highlights in the links. So it tells me exactly which image it is. Remember, in InDesign, you can't copy and paste an image in. Even though it technically allows you, do not copy and paste an image into InDesign. Make sure it's in your magazine folder and then file, place it. Otherwise, it's not going to print correctly and you're not going to be able to adjust the image later. So if you've seen the link info, I get all this info, go ahead and click and drag your link panel down so you can see all your info at once. It'll give you the name, what file type, page, etc., etc. It even tells you the date you placed it, what layer it's on, when was the last time you modified this image, the path. So if I have to go find this image, it even tells me what the path is on my hard drive. It gives you all this lovely information. The ones we want to focus on right now is your effective PPI. So if you notice about midway through is your actual PPI. So if I take this, open up in Photoshop and check it, my pixels per inch, they're currently 72 pixels per inch. If I print this at 100% of whatever size this image came as. But effective PPI, because we can take a big image and make it smaller, and all that information, now we have more pixels per inch when we make it smaller. So effectively, I have 432 pixels per inch. That's much better. When you're at 72, remember that's for web. When you try to print an image that is effectively 72 pixels per inch, it's going to print out pixelated. Your effective PPI needs to be at least 300. If it's not, there's a couple ways to fix that. If it's at about 150 or more, the best thing to do is we can actually open it up in Photoshop. All right, so now that we're in Photoshop, we can actually go in and adjust the image size. So at the very top in Photoshop, you can click Image, and actually click Image Size. And you'll get this little dialog box come up. It's going So with the image size here, it tells us, what's the actual width and height of this image and what the resolution is. So if I print this image at 56 inches by 31.5 inches, it will give me a resolution of 72 pixels per inch. If I unclick resample, so if I unclick it, if you notice all three of these is linked, but you notice when I uncheck resample, my width, my height, and resolution, they all are linked together. So if I adjust my resolution to 300 pixels per inch, which is what we want for print, it will automatically tell me my width and my height. So if I want it to print at if I want to print at 300 pixels per inch, it's going to print at 13 inches by 7 inches. Now say I need it to be bigger. If I really need print 56 inches by 31.5 inches, but I need a higher resolution because otherwise it's going to come out pixelated. If you check resample, what resample does is it guesses, it'll look at the pixels next to each other and it will say, I need to add more pixels in. So Photoshop is automatically going to try to guess what colors need to be next to each other and add in those pixels. So I need to add in, so I have 300 pixels per inch. And so see, it kind of went in and guessed. We don't want to do this from like 72 to 300 because if you notice on my little preview here, if you look at the eyes of the cat, they're no longer as sharp. They're kind of like smoothed out a little bit and you get some of this color noise. It's what's called when you see kind of like that grain in a picture, it's called noise. You get a lot of noise and it's no longer as sharp. It tends to kind of almost soften the image. The more pixels you have to add, the softer the image is going to get. So like it may print out and you may look at it and go, that's not like super sharp. That's almost like a little fuzzy. So be mindful of that. But you can go into Photoshop and add in these pixels by image size. Make sure resample is on because it's going to be sampling the pixels around it and guessing what color they need to be to add in more pixels. And then you can click OK. And you'll know it's done its job when it all of a sudden like the image is a lot bigger. And then make sure you file, save it again, and then go into InDesign, delete your old one, so delete your old image, and replace it with the new image. This way you make sure you get the higher resolution, and then come back here, check your effective PPI, and make sure it's over 300. For your magazine project, every single image needs to be linked. So again, not copy and pasted, it needs to be linked correctly. And every single image must have at least a resolution of 300, including your ad. So your ad should be at least a resolution of 300, and every single image should be. And if you can't find those images, if they are too small, I'll show you a quick way in Google to find some larger images. So if I go Google Images and I just search nature, and I click images, you'll see at the top of Google there's all images, news, maps, videos, more, etc. There's also settings and tools. If you click tools, you'll get this nifty little drop down menu here. And then if you drop down size, you can set to only show you large images. Now, not all these images are going to be 300 PPI and are going to fit perfectly for your magazine, but this is going to get you a whole lot closer. So you may still have to go into Photoshop and adjust some of the images, but this is going to get you a whole lot closer than before. So again, make sure every single image in Photoshop has an effective PPI of over 300 and that your pre-flight panel has no errors. You should get your green light to go.